Live from the top of the Empire State Building. Get ready for the everyday entrepreneur experience. Sit back and crank up the volume. You're now listening to the Pest Equity Podcast.
Welcome all to another great episode of Pest Equity Podcast. I'm your host, Vinny E. On this episode, I want to discuss entrepreneurial professionalism and what it means to me. Some may be asking, what is entrepreneurial professionalism? Well, to me, it's about keeping your promises, telling the truth, and take responsibility for your mistakes. Yeah, I know, this sounds like the advice your parents or grandparents repeated to you as a child. Right up there with the apple a day keeps the doctor away. Or wash your hands before dinner, kids. However, the reality is that simple wisdom like this has never been more needed in the business world today, especially within the growing subculture of digital entrepreneurs who are building massive audiences with people they'll probably never meet the majority of in real life. Never before has there been a generation so connected to others while simultaneously being self-centered. Think about it. And it's even more important to think about it if you're driving change and influence. We care about trivial things like how many strangers follow us and likes on social media platforms while neglecting to be punctual and respectful towards the people we actually know. I've had many podcasters invite me on their shows only to either be late for our appointment or stand me up completely. It's easy to call yourself an entrepreneur, but can you call yourself a professional? I strongly believe the answer to that question will separate those that thrive from those that struggle to get by. In my opinion, never before has being seen as a professional been more important, not only because of its ability to form good character, but also because it makes up the very DNA of professionalism. Professionalism is a habit which every entrepreneur has the duty to perform, especially if they wish to become or remain influential and successful. Now, the big question in the room, what is entrepreneurial professionalism? Well, for starters, being a professional has nothing to do with the following items. 1, having a certain level of education like a MBA. 2, making a specific amount of money. Number 3, being the best in your industry. And number 4, being well known or famous. None, let me repeat that, none of that is required to become a professional. You could have a fruit and vegetable stand in any central marketplace and still carry yourself as a professional. It really boils down to conducting yourself in a way that shows you respect yourself, your business, and the people you interact with and serve. That's what separates the amateurs from the professionals. And since this type of behavior has no prerequisites, other than committing to being professional, there's no reason why every entrepreneur should neglect this habit. Some may be thinking, Why does entrepreneurial professionalism matter in today's economy? Well, from a little research, the U.S. labor data is predicting that by the year 2022, over 40% of the U.S. population will either be a full-time freelancer or involved in some sort of freelancing to supplement their income. This is the new economy that I've been speaking about for years. A time when men and women have the opportunity to take control of their destiny and build a business. But with this opportunity comes great responsibility. For anyone with the aspiration to become their own brand and build a business based around that brand and what it stands for, they must embrace professionalism as a way of life. You might be asking yourself why. I'll tell you why. Because choosing otherwise will only serve to benefit your competitor who does. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you've been in business for many years. Every person who wishes to be seen and respected as an influencer in their market or niche is responsible for being professional. With this in mind, I formally present to you 5 habits you must implement in order to call yourself a professional, in my opinion. Number 1, professional entrepreneurs keep their word. This is one of the biggest problems I've seen and experienced amongst entrepreneurs. Someone says they'll do X, Y, and Z for you, or call you at a certain time, or send you a specific email, but then cancels last minute or simply flakes out, only to explain a few days later how busy they were. But here's the deal. Being busy is not an excuse for missing deadlines or not delivering on promises. A professional does whatever it takes to keep their word and fulfill their promises, no matter how small they are. It's plain common courtesy, and it's something that is slowly disappearing. We've got to bring it back as a focus of modern day entrepreneurship. That means you may need to pull an all-nighter to finish a project. Yes, I know sleep is important, but a professional would rather lose sleep than have someone lose confidence in their word. It will always serve as a lesson to yourself to not take on more than you can handle. Losing sleep is not fun, believe me, and the groggy feeling you have the next day will remind you to not bite off more than you can chew. You shouldn't overpromise in order to impress someone or to make a sale. This is the fastest way to destroy your reputation. You need to start getting into the habit of saying no more often. Saying yes to everything will fill your plate and boost stress levels. Remember, when you say yes to something, you instantly say no to something else. Number 2, professional entrepreneurs respect their own time. You'll find that some of the most successful people have more free time and grow their business faster than people who are always busy. At first glance, you may think, when I become successful, I'll have so much more time. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. In fact, it's the other way around. When you free up more time, you'll become successful. And this only happens by valuing your time. After all, time is our most valuable commodity as entrepreneurs. When a professional begins valuing their time, it means they'll begin making changes in how they're managing their time, as well as making the most out of the time they have each day. Let me give you some examples. Saying yes to only high-impact activities and projects, this requires more long-term thinking. Preparing or requiring an agenda for any meeting they take on. Charging what their time is worth and not feeling bad about it. Saying goodbye to multitasking. Instead, focus on building a team. Being super punctual for appointments. Identifying and distancing themselves from time vampires, such as people who want to pick your brain. Number 3, professional entrepreneurs remain cool under pressure. There are 2 things I can 100% guarantee. The first is that the sun will rise tomorrow morning. And the second is that you will face trials and setbacks in business. I'm going to give you some advice. The true business leader, the successful businessman or woman, is the individual who develops the ability to retain his composure in times of stress and in the face of setbacks. Maintaining composure not only gives you the ability to make better decisions, but it also sets a proper example to your family, staff, and anyone you do business with. This is a habit you must begin implementing immediately. It might not come naturally to you, but I have seen great strides in people that I've worked with just because they focused in on this as a habit that they were passionate about forming and developing oneself. Number 4, professional entrepreneurs own their mistakes. No matter how professional you are, you will make mistakes. No one is perfect. I embrace screwing up. Sincerely. It's a learning game that I have no problem playing. I chase down opportunities to learn by making mistakes. Some will be because of good old-fashioned negligence, while others will be complete accidents. But either way, my friends, they must be acknowledged. Yeah, it's embarrassing to be called out on a mistake, but what's worse is to act as if nothing ever happened. This doesn't mean you can't move on. Of course, you have to move on. It's a simple 3-step process and something we all need to get better at. If we want to build our brands, our businesses, in a highly respectful manner, acknowledge the mistake, apologize for making it, amend it, and move on. Number 5, professional entrepreneurs value their reputation. This, to me, is the big one. The one that'll separate the men from the boys and the ladies from the girls. The way to be nothing is to do nothing. I love that quote. It reminds me that what you do matters. It matters the moment I do it, immediately after, and months, if not years, later. Yes, you can have big goals and a winner's mindset, but unless that translates into action, it's totally worthless. A true professional understands that their reputation is far more important than their monthly profit and loss statements. Yes, we all want to grow a profitable business, but not on the back of dodgy actions. Instead, do it right and for the right reasons. Stand by your refund process, even if a request comes in on day 29 of the 30-day period. Put a premium on the importance of over-delivering on customer service. Refunding overpayments, this is a major trust builder. conduct yourself appropriately at networking, happy hours. Many reputations have been lost because of alcohol. Represent your experience or lack of experience correctly. Keep your word, no matter how small the promise. Remember what I always say, your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not around. When you're not at that coffee meetup or that big conference or on that mastermind call. How do you want your prospects, your peers, friends, team members, etc., and customers to talk about you? That's your brand. All of this comes back to embracing a professional mindset. It's not that hard to simply do things better with a little planning, execution, and genuine passion to get it done the right way. You'll be well on your way to becoming a professional entrepreneur, and the benefits will come your way. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to another great episode of Pest Equity Podcast. I want to thank all our new followers on Instagram. Don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We got a lot of things coming that way. We got some guests in the works. And I'll see you all on the next one. God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Pest Equity Podcast. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at Pest Equity Podcast and join the Facebook group. Have a question or topic for the show? Shoot us an email at pestequitypodcast@gmail.com.